Aqua Carpatica nu este singura apă extraordinară din România. Avem 60% din izvoarele Europei, izvoare cu apă folosită terapeutic de acum 1600 de ani. Exportam apă la Constantinopol acum 800 de ani, ape extrase de la sute de metri adâncime, ape ce izvorăsc din păduri virgine sau ape premiate internațional. Avem și cea mai pură apă minerală din lume, iar apele din România continuă să se întreacă între ele. Încearcă noul izvor Aqua Carpatica, la fel de pur și cu gust unic datorat concentrației speciale de săruri. Aqua Carpatica din România, patria apelor minerale.
INCDT Commodi is Romania's unique R&D institute for gas turbines, dedicated to aerospace with application in the energy field. With more than 20 years of scientific proficiency, the Institute specializes in scientific research, design, testing, and production of innovative and sustainable equipment, such as aviation gas turbines, high-speed bladed machinery, and compressing equipment for natural gas market, focusing on consumption reduction and environmental protection. Working in accordance with a certified quality assurance system, Commodi proves its local and international proficiency through a significant number of international awards, involvement in high enterprise European framework programs, and numerous partnerships with companies such as Safran Group, MT Aerospace, Pratt & Whitney, Onera, DLR, GHH Rand, Man Diesel, and Turbo. The Institute seeks for new partners in the aerospace field, energy market focusing on gas extraction and transportation, and machine engineering industry. Commodi Institute, experienced partner for innovative and reliable solutions.
Welcome to Guarantee BBVA, a place where we create opportunities for our customers. For more than a quarter of a century, we have held on to our core value of customer comes first. We think big is ingrained in our DNA. We Are One Team reflects our collaborative, inclusive and supportive work environment. Investing in our people is one of our top priorities. Join us on our journey to create opportunities in Romania. Together, we can achieve great things.
First of all, I'd like to say I'm honored to welcome your ambassadors, your excellencies, and your experts for your kindly presence attending here. And I am very glad to be moderator in this special panel, the last but not the least, in this conference series of meetings in our panels. It's not by chance, of course, because I am a diplomat as a profession, but at the same time, I tried to have researches in what the international relations there are. From my point of view, unfortunately, globalization came out not only with very good things and not only with good developments, and this can be observed very near to Romania, in Ukraine, very, of course, not so new, but anyway, tough confrontation in Middle East, and I dare to say that are not the only two very hard places in the globe. Of course, there are matters of security, matters of peace, and hopefully we tried to kind of make an interconnection between all the people, all the states, in order to make efforts to maintain this peace in line with UN Charter and, of course, our bilateral treaties. We try to make as much as possible, as many as possible, also like-minded states to share the same values of democracy, the same values of development in good environment. Unfortunately, not all the time we succeeded. I mean, the humanity succeeded to do it. In these days, I tried to rise up some reflections in our discussions about how we can improve this climate of security and peace, how we can cooperate not only between states, because you know very well that public diplomacy nowadays play a very important role, and we had already some bad experience about what Russians are doing in the Republic of Moldova and Ukraine. How we can face with or counter with these attacks, and how we can convince, not only in sense of military terms, convince these states. I mean, I cannot say states, I can say these autocratic leaders to come to our rules, because even we want or not, we are in a very clear international global paradigm of international relation. We have imperative norms, we have rules, we have customs done during the centuries, and it's a very pity to destroy all this millenary work of diplomacy. I don't want to speak very much now, because my aim is to hear you, your excellencies, and I kindly ask for the very beginning to His Excellency KAP-SOO, Ambassador Extraordinary and Plenipotentiary of Republic of Korea in Romania, to address his ideas.
Thank you so much, sir. Good morning, everyone. Bună dimineața.
Bună dimineața.
And today I would like to share with my own perspective on the current global security environment and on the relations between Korea and Romania in navigating together current difficult moments. As we all know, this year, 2024, has been the most conflict-ridden year since the Second World War. Across the globe, from Ukraine to the Middle East, conflicts and division have torn the facade of the human dignity. On top of this, the strategic rivalry between democracies and autocracies and the frame of the norm-based international order turned the existing global order upside down. Against this backdrop, economic interdependence and globalization of the past 20th century has become the thing of the past. Security interests are taking priority over free trade and unhindered flow of capitals. Multilateralism, bolstered by the United Nations, is losing its relevance nowadays, expediting fragmentation of the world politics. So we are facing with a world of public crisis in all areas, including security, economy, and values. So under this tectonic shift of the international security environment, we have to ask ourselves on what we have to do. First of all, I think we need to forge a coalition of friends, partners, and allies who share the same fundamental values and the same security interests. Alliance of values and alliance of actions are the key words my president has put forward in his addresses at the NATO Summit and UN General Assembly last year. Looking back, Korea's journey from the war-torn, impoverished country to a full-fledged democracy with economic prosperity was made possible by the continued support of our friends and partners. We are very keenly aware, more than any other countries, that solidarity and mutual support are the key to navigate difficult times. Only together, we can be the tide that leads other boats as well. There is another reason to double down on our solidarity, and that is the inseparability of security between Europe and Northeast Asia. You may know that recently, North Korea has dispatched its combat troops from early October with plans to deploy approximately 10,000 combat soldiers with the aim of supporting Russia's war efforts in Ukraine. Since August last year, North Korea has shipped munitions and short-range ballistic missiles to Russia. This illegal Russia and North Korea military collaboration attests the fact that the security of Northeast Asia and European countries is closely intertwined with the security of the free European countries as well. So we have to hang together. We have to be aligned fully with our friends and allies and partners with whom we share the same fundamental values, and we are looking in the same direction. In Romanian words, unde sunt mulți, puterea crește, where there are many, power grows, right? So the Republic of Korea owns the capability and the willingness in facilitating the alliance of values. Today, Korea has become one of the most advanced and vibrant economic powerhouses in the world. Korea has been expanding its role in the global security as well, as an ally of the United States, as a strategic partner of the European Union, and as a global partner of NATO. And from this year until next year, 2024, Korea is a non-permanent member of the UN Security Council. And we have been playing an active role in advancing international security and stability. On the relations between Korea and Romania, we are strategic partners that share the same values, the same security environment, and the same alliances and partners. Our two countries have walked down the irreversible path toward a full-fledged democracy and economic prosperity. And today, we have firmly established ourselves to the shining beacons of security and prosperity in the eastern flank of the European Union and on the northern flank of Northeast Asia. I think economic prosperity without peace is not achievable, and peace without economic prosperity is also not achievable either. I believe that in a world where security and economy are becoming ever more intertwined, a strategic partnership should be formed on the economic front as well. We Koreans had learned this lesson from our own journey over the past 7 decades. Our shared values and alignment of security interests are the bedrock of our relations between Korea and Romania, guarding our cooperation across various endeavors, including defense and security as well. President Ioannis paid an official visit to Seoul from the April 22nd and 25th this year, making a quality jump in our strategic partnership. Our two presidents adopted the joint statement on strengthening the strategic partnership between our two countries. This joint statement sets out the roadmap to steer our strategic partnership for the next 15 years. In particular, our two presidents agreed to intensify cooperation on supply chain resilience, to diversify commercial ties, and to increase mutual investments, particularly in strategic areas such as energy, defense, and infrastructure. In this vein, the Defense Cooperation Agreement and the MOU on nuclear cooperation were signed during the summit. As the current global security landscape, precipitated by the war in Ukraine, military conflict in Middle East, further propels us to accelerate our security and defense cooperation. The stage is set, I believe, to expand our strategic partnership into security, defense, and energy sector. Specific projects in these areas are being materialized nowadays. The Korean companies of nuclear industry have actively participated in nuclear energy projects in Chernobyl. Korea will be one of the most reliable partners in Romania's small modular reactor projects in Bucharest. In defense industry, Hanwha Aerospace, a leading Korean company, will build a production facility in Romania and will contribute to Romania's economic development by integrating Romania's businesses into Hanwha Aerospace global supply chain. I think, in closing, I think Korea and Romania can be the best strategic partners straddling Europe and Asia under this very changing international environment. I'll stop here. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Really very interesting, and I want to explain myself because I tried to start our discussion despite our list from the east to west. Because it's another logical arrangement. Even Republic of Korea, it is not so close to Ukraine, not so close to Middle East. It is despite of this, it is very linked with all what is happening here in these two very warm part of the globe, but more closer to Middle East, and I am very sure that it's a very well known conflict, unfortunately, from a long time. It is another very important player in what in Middle East is now happening now, and I have in mind a very beautiful country, Egypt. I have the honor in our discussion to have near us, and I kindly invite the floor Mr. Excellency's Extraordinary and Plenipotentiary Ambassador of Arab Republic of Egypt, Moayad, Fathallah, Mohamed, ELDALIE. I hope I read very correct the name.
Correct. Thank you very much, and good morning, dear colleagues. Dr. Gabriel, Micu. Thank you very much for having us today in this important conference, diplomacy conference. I think I will just concentrate on the international diplomacy of the era of the AI. I think this is a very important topic because everybody now is dealing with AI. Some people, they are a little bit not confident using AI, but I think it's coming. Everybody will use it, and it will be part of our lives. As we know today, we stand at the precipice of the new era, an era defined not only by technological advancement, but also by the profound implications these advancements have on international diplomacy. As we navigate the complexities of our interconnected world, artificial intelligence emerges as both a powerful tool and a formidable challenge in the realm of the global relations. AI is transforming the way we communicate, analyze data, and make decisions. It has the potential to enhance our diplomatic efforts, streamline negotiations, and foster collaboration across the borders. However, with great power comes great responsibility. As diplomats, we must approach this technology with a keen awareness of its ethical implications and the potential risks it poses to our societies. First of all, let us recognize the opportunities that AI presents for enhancing diplomatic engagement. AI can process vast amounts of information at unprecedented speeds, enabling us to analyze complex geopolitical landscapes and identify emerging trends. By harnessing AI-driven analytics, we can make informed decisions that are grounded in data rather than speculation. This capability allows us to respond more effectively to global challenges, from climate change to public health crisis. Moreover, AI can facilitate communication and collaboration among nations. Language barriers that once hindered dialogue can be overcome through advanced translation technologies, allowing for more inclusive discussions. Virtual platforms powered by AI can connect diplomats and stakeholders from around the world, fostering real-time collaboration on pressing issues. In this way, AI can serve as a bridge, bringing together diverse perspectives and promoting mutual understanding. However, as we embrace these advancements, we must also confront the ethical dilemmas that they present. The deployment of AI raises critical questions about privacy, security, and accountability. We must ensure that the use of AI in diplomacy adheres to our shared values and respects human rights. It is imperative that we establish international norms and standards governing the ethical use of AI, ensuring that they are employed for the greater good rather than an instrument of division or oppression. In addition to these considerations, we must also recognize the role of AI in enhancing crisis management and humanitarian responses. During times of conflict, as we have now, as example in the Middle East, or natural disasters, AI can provide critical insights that inform our actions and improve resource allocation. By leveraging AI technologies, we can enhance our ability to respond swiftly and effectively to humanitarian needs, ultimately saving lives and alleviating suffering. As we move forward into this era, Let us commit ourselves to a vision of international diplomacy that embraces innovation while upholding our core principles of justice, equity, and respect for human dignity. Together, we can harness the power of AI to create a more peaceful, prosperous, and interconnected world. In conclusion, the era of AI presents us with both unprecedented opportunities and significant challenges. As diplomats, it is our duty to navigate this landscape with wisdom and foresight. Let us work collaboratively to shape a future where technology serves as a catalyst for positive change in international relations, a future where diplomacy thrives in the age of artificial intelligence. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Your Excellency, and I fully resonate with your ideas already told us in a few minutes, and very concentrate topics of what can be AI, not only in sense of advantages, but also in disadvantages. Of course, about disadvantages, we are concerned mostly about the dangers to keep in our hand the technology, not to change the role. I mean, the technology keeping our souls in their hands, of course. Other ways, I think we are already in this era in which technology, digitalization, and even AI play a very current role in a diplomatic life. We are not only today, but long time ago started to all these transformations started to came out from a different part of the globe, not only in west part, but also in east part, as for example very well pointed out His Excellency Ambassador of Korea. I know that, by the way, I know that Korea is not is very aware about medicine, about the health of the people, and they already unfolded a very big industry, qualified, and if I well known, AI, it is a presence in what in South Korea, I mean in Republic of Korea, it's happening in health domain. We have a lot of good examples. That's why I think that the advantages are more than disadvantages. Disadvantages is coming from our fear not to lose the control of the technology. Then it's normal. It's obvious. Therefore, diplomacy can play a very important role in sense of discussion, debates, and finding solution to guard this danger. Of course, there can be said a lot of things, but let me to introduce in our discussion a very good diplomat, a very good experience in diplomacy in different parts of the globe, East, West, and of course in Romanian Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Mr. Cosmin DUMITRESCU, General Counselor of Romania in Torino, and I dare to say a very friendly presence of these conferences, always responding with a positive answer. Mr. DUMITRESCU, please take the floor.
Thank you very much, and good morning to all. It's very nice to be here again with you. I'm very honored to be in such a fun company. I'm very honored to salute the ambassadors that are accredited to Romania and that are working very hard to build good bridges between Romania and their countries. Thank you, Gabriel. I highly appreciate your introduction. You are too kind to me. As you may know, I'm a career diplomat, and I dedicated my whole life to finding new ways to build relations between Romania and our partners. The topic that Ambassador introduced before, it's a topic that that is a good theme for all of us. You know that I chose deliberately to talk about the new diplomacy inside these conferences. We all know that the old diplomacy is a very efficient one, and given the new circumstances at the global level, we can see that the geopolitics is coming back very hard. And these geopolitics are counter-positioned with the new realities that the entire planet is facing. We tackled in the last year, and I helped doing that in these conferences, the new diplomacy, and I personally talked about the disaster diplomacy. I talked about energy diplomacy. I talked about a lot of other border diplomacy that completes the old one, and that comes and helps our work as diplomats in finding ways to improve and to enhance the relations between our countries bilaterally and at the multilateral level. Now, as you may remember, last June, I think we met last June, I talked about the cyber diplomacy that is directly connected to AI as well. And I raised the issue of the lack of regulation at the international level, and the problems that are caused by this lack of regulation in cybersecurity, because the cyber diplomacy should be our activity as diplomats, but also as countries or international organizations, to find ways to regulate all the aspects that need to be regulated in this area. And of course, we meet here a lot of other difficulties because we lack the know-how. We need to come with good engineers that need to explain to us, to diplomats, what it's all about. We need to understand how these systems work, how the systems can cause vulnerabilities, how these systems can be efficiently and really controlled by the dissidents, because we know that countries and peoples are led by their leaders that are normally elected to do that, and that the decision should be in the hand of people. The compatibility between such systems, and the ambassador talked about the AI and the advantages. You pointed out, Gabriel, also the disadvantages and the vulnerabilities of such systems. Now, the main issues come when we do not come to the point to realize and to understand better the consequences of the system working and of the lack of regulations, or on the other hand, the danger, the risks of over-regulation of such systems. In order to do that, we as diplomats have the duty to understand the present and to make a good projection of the future. For doing that, in such fields, we need specialists. And for putting together these specialists, we need to work together with academia. And that is the topic that I wanted to tackle today, the university, the academia diplomacy. That is a part of the public diplomacy, and I know very well that you, Gabriel, are very fond of that chapter of diplomacy, and how the public diplomacy helps us in doing our work better. We know that parliamentary diplomacy can be efficient. We know that any other kind of diplomacy at the technical level can be efficient. But how can we cope and work and build a good cooperation with that part of the public diplomacy that comes with academia? I dedicated a lot of time of my work, as you know, Gabriel, and many other colleagues, to building relations between academia from Romania and other good, important partners of ours in the EU, in the European Union, and in NATO. As a matter of fact, as a senior diplomat on the Romanian diplomat on the west coast of the United States, I dedicate a lot of time in building relations between biggest most important universities there and universities in Romania, and not only Romania, also in Europe. We succeeded in attracting in our projects also universities from Great Britain or from Italy or from France. The things that are coming up now show that in order to have a good projection of the future, we need to have a good projection of the relations between our young specialists. And we already know that the exchange of students and of professors is not enough. It's not enough to build systems of cooperation, of communication, and for working in this kind of area. And it's not good enough in helping us understand how it is going to work in 2 years' time, or in 10 years' time, or in 20 years' time, if there will be a planet. I don't think that the AI, the artificial intelligence, is the main danger or the main risks here. Probably the lack of knowledge in using that is the main risk. And I'm sure that the lack of regulation at the international level is also a main risk, as we can see now the lack of regulation in the space, where is everything overcrowded. We also know that this kind of activity has a direct consequence on the functioning of the energy system on Earth. We know that the resources are not enough, and we also know that we need to expand in finding out other resources, human resources, energy resources, and technological one. How we are going to do that? It's our task to find out. Everybody is looking at the diplomatic systems for showing the new paths. The creativity is not an option for us, but it's only the reality to be followed. We need to understand how to put together law school specialists, attorneys at the international level, with diplomats and with engineers. I would like to challenge everybody in this conference and to tell us now, because I'm sure that all of us are very well involved in building academic relations between our countries, and to state here what's the main difficulty that they or you can envisage for the next 5 years, for example, in putting together universities. I tried to find good common platforms for universities where they can work together. We know that many companies in the US have thrown on the market those beautiful and very efficient platforms such as Coursera for Campus or Udemy, where you can find a lot of universities for all over the world that provide courses. And I know universities from Republic of Korea, for example, that are present on Coursera for Campus, and they are providing very, very fine courses there, very attractive ones. But what's the next level after that? Universities are quite reluctant of being present there. Probably that the big mobility of students can put universities in a very bad spot, because any university wants to keep their students inside, and any country tries to keep the brain inside of that country. And we can see that our young specialists from all over the world choose to have, or are choosing to have, a much bigger mobility. And that comes out with a lot of lack of know-how that stays behind them when they leave the countries. We had that challenge in Romania. In the last 20 years, a lot of Romanian specialists chose to develop their professional careers overseas. That is a challenge that any system should take into consideration in building strategies. Probably the most important thing that we need to work on as diplomats is that of giving our young students and graduates the possibility to have their diplomas recognized in more countries, and to have their diplomas recognized in their own country of origin. So if a Romanian student goes to Italy or to Spain or to United States of South Korea or Saudi Arabia or anywhere else, he should find an easy way to have his or her diploma recognized in his own country, in Romania, and the other way around. They should be helped to find their way back to their countries. If a South Korean student goes to the United States to study, he or she should not have any difficulty in having his or her diploma recognized in his or her own country, so that it will be a more attractive way to go back and to help and build a good economy in his or her country. We do have that issue, Gabriel, as you know, and I'm working hard on that topic, and we succeeded in building a good project here, and that's a new thing. Maybe you know it, or maybe you don't know it, but between the University of Torino and the West University of Timișoara, from this year at the law school, we do have a program with a double diploma in master's and bachelor, so that the graduates are going to be able to tackle both labor markets after their graduation. That's the way to work on this issue, and if we succeed in doing that at the European level, and after that in building such relations with our main partners, and we do have two of our good partners here in this conference, so that we can make this circle work better in a good speed for having our future specialists encouraged to come to our countries and to travel professionally between our countries, finding their way comfortable to develop a profession and good projects in research, in innovation, and in building economy. That would be a great success of our diplomatic work. So I would say that innovation, academia, technological diplomacy should be a priority for all of us, because that is a diplomacy for the future. That is diplomacy for peace, and that is a diplomacy for security. Thank you all. I wouldn't like to take too much of your time, because I know that it's a little bit late, and I wish you a great success with your interventions and the conference. See you next time. I will be here, and I will be very anxious to find out, excited to find out what you are going to tell here. Congratulations again for the conference, for the entire series of conferences in Together We Protect Romania. Thank you very much for your attention, and thank you, ambassadors, for being here with us.
Thank you very much, Cosmin, and I am very happy to hear some topics from you, from your speech. Some topics I am concerned also. As you very well said before, I am very keen on what it means, the new diplomacy. New diplomacy as a mix between traditional diplomacy, public diplomacy, and I dare to say that cyber diplomacy, you mentioned last conference very well, and explained a little bit more detailed what you see through this by lens of this cyber diplomacy. I am afraid that in this case, I'm afraid it's in a good sense. I'm afraid that in this case, a very important rule is how the engineers and the specialists can make themselves clear for the jurists, for the diplomats, in such a way to create a clear picture of what it means, a regulation in cyberspace, because it is very hard, for example, to identify a malware X, a malware Y, and to know exactly how to act from the legislative point of view in order to stop it or to avoid it.
Gabriel, I'm afraid, I'm sorry to interfere. I promise I will not do that again in the last 25 minutes. It's much more serious, the issue, because we are talking about regulation that affects directly the international market, also in trade market. We can see that the economy is almost dominated now by e-commerce. We can see how great, amazing companies in this world develop a very efficient with great turnover e-commerce activities, and we can see that these e-commerce activities take over the traditional trade. So the lack of regulation in cyberspace with a very efficient cyber diplomacy affects directly the global economy, affects directly the market, the labor market, affects directly the stock market and everything else. We can see that these kind of attacks or the lack of security, cybersecurity is regulated with the special tool and the essential tool that is the cyber diplomacy. But we are not very active. Let's face it. We are diplomats here in this conference, but I met a lot of our colleagues in Europe and in the United States. When we all acknowledge that we are not very active in regulating cyberspace because we are reluctant in learning about that as diplomats and in building teams with the legal advisors and everybody else, legal advisors and engineers together with the diplomats, trying to understand how it works and what are the real risks of the cyberspace in the trade, e-trade, e-commerce, in financial activities, big financial activities. We can see now that the stock markets are practically tackled by remotely. Everybody is in front of the computer, being active on the stock market in Tokyo, in Seoul, in London or Milan or New York and so on. So it's the consequences of the lack of regulation in cyberspace are enormous, are so big that we cannot comprehend if we are not building work groups and teams that work on that. So it's much worse that we can think about it. It's not only a malware or the risks for the security. We could see how a bridge can be put down by a boat that has been under attack of hackers. So, and that is not only a security issue, it's also an economic issue because that port has been blocked. So the consequences are so big that cannot be comprehended only thinking about that as individuals. We need to work together as countries and in groups of countries at the multilateral level as well. This is what I tackled last time, and that goes together with the AI, that it's a tool that is at the beginning of its activity, could bring some risk as well. So that was what I was pointing out, and thank you for bringing that again. I know that you are very fond of a new diplomacy. I am also very fond of new diplomacy because it's the most efficient one. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I only want to mention that was only an example, this malware. I wanted to continue, but you guessed my ideas and unfolded very well other kind of risk. What I wanted to say, and I'd like to hear the opinion of our colleagues, Excellencies from Egypt and South Korea, Republic of Korea, about how they think regulate in this domain, very vast, but at the same time very technique. This I wanted to say. I'm an electronic engineer in my best grade, and by chance I was directly involved in the projects in microchips, and I tried to at the time. I tried to understand the philosophy, of course, in brackets said, of electronics, physics, mathematics, and a huge domain to understand, and not fully understand, I am very sure, but to understand as much as possible what is happening there in a very, very thin surface of silicium. From this point of view, and of course, keeping the dimensions and not making similarities in sense of identities, but at the same situation is nowadays. We don't know how we can, in fact, without the engineers, we don't know exactly how to deal with this kind of threats of EA, and even we reach at the stage to understand as better as possible how to guard so-called damages, collateral damages, of course, probables. The technique, the technology, the innovation change very fast this domain, and that's why this is another. I can say this is another danger. I mean, danger is another obstacle, more exactly said, because all it's in a very big speed, and we have to keep up, catch up in order to realize, at least to regulate the minimum issues can be regulated. And even we catch up, we are reactive. And I fully agree with my colleague, Cosmin, when he said very well, most of the specialists, I mean, at least in the diplomatic area, are more or less reactive, not active in this sense. I tried only to explain from my words, of course, with my words, of course, and from my perspective, why I think it's very hard to be active in this area. It's not impossible, of course, but it's very, very hard to be active. So I came back to my question to our excellencies attending to this conference. How in their country look at this provocation of the future?
Let me say that controlling or regulating the AI is impossible. We cannot do it.
My
Let
opinion.
Be
my
logic
opinion.
and yes, because if you are going to regulate or post some controls on special areas, the second day you'll find it in another. So I think the control must be within the persons themselves. People using the AI, they have to understand exactly that they cannot depend 100% on AI. They have to analyze what they get from the AI and make their decisions upon their experience and view. But depending 100% on AI, I think it will not be now or in the future. Because as we know, all the information that the AI give us is not 100% true. So I think revision and analyzing still will be needed for diplomats, and we cannot depend 100% on AI. This is my point of view.
So it's a very interesting and a very real point of view, because if you was a little bit keen on what my colleague said before, it's very important to to understand and to learn using the AI. By Cosmin said very well, to have exchanges between different universities, because in fact this is the first step, university, to accommodate with these technologies. And of course, when you are accommodated, you can keep under control the technology, not vice versa. But one of, I think, the most important economies, I dare to say, in the world, Republic of Korea economy, it's working now. If I'm wrong, please tell me, Your Excellency. It's already work in a very common way with AI. It's true or not?
Yes, sir. First of all, thank you so much for your excellent explanations and debriefings on the Consul General, Cosmin DUMITRESCU. You made very good points actually, and I totally agree with you what you said about the academic exchanges and to have to work together with universities across the world, right? And before that, I have 3 points to make. First is that as we are all agreed that we are at inflection point to usher in new international order. Just the current international order, which was shaped during the end of the Cold War era, 1990s, and nowadays this new era, the past international order, it is being turned inside out, right? So many conflicts, and also not only the Russia's invasion, but also many conflicts all over the world, right? So we are ushering in new international the order, I can say that. And number two, in the unfolding of the new international order, everything became national security issues, everything, right? So the climate change, food security, energy security, immigration, all became the center of national security issues. So it's a little bit different from past international orders, right? Even technology, high-end technology, AI, becomes for national security issues. For example, in our country, Korea, we have the National Security Council presided by our president. And nowadays, not only the foreign minister, defense minister, but also economic minister, technology minister, ICT minister also be part of as a member of the National Security Council, right? So economic, technology, ICT all became security issues. And the third, we are facing a new world order, which just is inclusive of the traditional power politics and the new emerging security threats, right? So the all is in the mix. That makes the picture much more complicated, right? And but at the same time, we don't have any standard or regulations to regulate the new emerging security threats. For example, AI. Yeah, there are now some kind of the small coalition. For example, Chip 4, Korea is one of the 4 countries. The forming Chip 4 alliance with the USA, Taiwan, and Netherlands also, right? So, and also there has been a lot of talks about how to deal with other autocratic states like China, whether we have to de-risk or total decoupling, right? Yeah. And coming to the AI, I think the main points around a discussion of AI is that how to prevent the weaponization of AI. Yes, AI can contribute to advancement of economic development, to advancement advancement of the human welfare, but at the same time, AI can undermine democracy, and the AI can disrupt social order, like the spreading disinformations, or cyber attacks on major infrastructures. But so far, but we don't have any single the agreed international norm or regulations how to prevent the weaponization, how to stop the AI from being used against humanity. Right. As far as I know, there has been the open-end working group inside UN. That working group was established more than 10 years ago, but there was no agreement, no consensus how to move forward in order to have the common international standard to regulate AI. So nowadays, the main focus of a discussion regarding AI is not to have agreed regulations, but it is now focusing on how to stop the some countries from being cooperative in making AI, to prevent the transfer or the transfer of technologies to other countries, to undermine some countries' capability to manufacture AI. So some parts technology, it is now more and more regulated, right? So nowadays, the main focus is not to have international standard, but to start transfer of technologies. So, and it will aggravate more and more the divide between the rich and the poor in terms of technical advancement. And what I have to say is that it's urgent for us to come together at the table to pull our heads to come up with the minimum regulations on all international standard. But the prospect is far, far away because the UN is now dysfunctioning. The UN-sponsored working groups or Security Council even, they are now not working, all right? Then under this current situation, when the multilateralism UN is not working and each country have just they are racing against each other, then what should we have? Then I think, as I said in my speech, then we have to get together among some group of countries sharing the same objectives, right? So I think that will be the first step in tackling the AI thing or the other cybersecurity issues. Nowadays we Koreans and together with the USA, Netherlands, we are convening some international conference on regulating AI and on regulating the use of AI into battlefield, how to tackle with the cyber security issues, right? And I think that kind of thing, when the experts and diplomats and politicians are coming together to talk about and to reach some minimum standard about that. So I think that is the at this moment that is the most effective way at this moment. So again, to deal with the new emerging security threats, which is quite new to us, then that we have to pull together among ourselves who share the same objectives, who sharing the same concerns, then it will be very practical step to move forward. I think so. I'll stop here.
Well, thank you very much, Your Excellency. You had a very surgical analysis here, and I dare to say I fully resonate with the ideas. And of course, it's a matter of willing, it's a matter of like-minded countries, and in fact, it's a matter of recognize what it means, AI, in terms of closing together, gathering together different nations, different opinion, different regimes in facing with this new domain, which is in fact a domain characterized very well what we are living now, the globalization. And it's very linked to with this political development in the world. Yes, I fully agree with what you said before, and unfortunately, because you mentioned in few words about different approaches concerning what is happening in Ukraine, what is happening in the Middle East, and I dare to say also not other in Venezuela, in South America. Unfortunately, the humanity, I think, it is in a very special situation. Countries with specialists very well prepared and willing to face with this EA, and at the same time, a big number of other countries without any knowledge on this, and I dare to say no, even no willing to be in this family, in this big family of of the new technology. And this is a kind of mentality, and it is another obstacle, let's say, in trying to regulate at the UN level. Not only because UN, it is how it is now, and we know very well.
If I may, Gabriel.
Please.
I'm really happy to see that the ambassador shares the same concerns, and practically we can find we can all find ourselves on the same page from that point of view. I try to understand as a legal specialist how to act and what are the steps that needed to be taken in order to regulate such a vast, enormous field with all the consequences that come with this kind of activities. And I'm stressing out the plural activities. Mm-hmm. We mentioned here many times AI because we all fear that we will not have anymore the possibility of controlling it and its actions and and the effects of the action of such a new entity that we cannot comprehend or understand yet. But I would not exclude from this discussion the action of man. Mm-hmm. Because the dangers and the risks are still much higher with the action of man now than with the AI. We need to define the risks. We need to define the notion of a danger to society or to persons, as we did with all the criminal activities that we sanctioned and that we punished with our criminal codes or criminal law at the national and international level. We first did that. We defined the guilty act, we defined the criminal activity, we defined the risks and the danger to society, and then we punished those and we took measures against those. We invented jails, we invented other punishments and other criminal or penal sanctions. We need to do that as well with this field as specialists. We need to know what is allowed to be done and what is not allowed to be done. We need to define liability for each action, and we need to define responsibility, personal responsibility, individual and common responsibility, collective responsibility, when for a fact a country is acting as an aggressor, or even worse, when a group of people is acting as an aggressor. Could be a group of people that is a criminal one, or could be simply a private company. Now we can see that we do have on this planet private companies that are really capable of developing capabilities that exceed a lot of capabilities of national or entire countries as well. We need to know who needed to be punished for a criminal act that was perpetrated in the cyberspace. Could be a person, a group of persons, or companies, or entire countries. And we need to take it from the bottom. We do have at least 3 layers of regulations. We do have the national layer, we have the international layer at the regional level, we do have groups such as the European Union, and we have the international level. I would say that the example that was given here by the ambassador with the working group that was based or decided or established at the UN, that is working more or less has been working for the last 10 years with results, let's put it this way, in a diplomatic way, that do not meet our expectations. That show us the first error, because we tried to find solutions and to regulate first from the global level. I think that each and every nation should go first and regulate at the national level, because the criminal acts are perpetrated as well at the national level. How to act against weaponizing AI or cyber activity, I'm afraid that it's too late for that already. Weaponizing such activity is probably a part of strategy of defense of many countries. Mm-hmm. And probably that moment has already been overpassed. But regulating the limits of weaponizing such activities at the national, regional, and especially the international level, that should be a target, and we should all aim for that, because losing control of that tool weaponized against other nations, group of nations, or people or peoples, that could design the end of the world as we know it. So I think that following this order of the layers of regulation, national, regional, or partially international and international level as principles and concrete tools of fighting criminal activities in that area should be taken and should be considered by everybody, because we all know that a forbidden act without being followed by a sanction will never be efficient for mankind. People that perpetrate a criminal act should know that they are going to pay for that. And that kind of sanction should be enforced, first of all, at the national level, because we do know that for the present and probably the near future, the only way to punish criminals that is efficient is conducted by national authorities. Thank you.
Yes. You just raised a very important issue. Yes, right. So the criminalizations of the individuals who is infringe of other people's the welfare, and we have to also regulate also the criminal activities in the cyberspaces. But still, a problem is this, sir. Every country should agree what constitutes criminal activity in which area, right? Yeah. So that was one of the main topics to be discussed in the UN Open Working Group on cybersecurity 10 years ago. But still, the UN-sponsored the Open Working Group does not produce any single agreement on what is criminal activities. So we have many standards on what constitutes criminality, right? For example, just a recent example is that the Russia's interference in Georgia's, Moldova's the national elections. So to Georgia, to Moldova, it is clearly criminal activities, right? But to Russia, that is not criminal activities. They are acting under the order of Russian authority. So they are doing for Russia's national interest, right? Yeah. So the hackers from Russia who manipulated the voting procedure is not to be, brought to justice in Russia. So still, we have to agree at least what is criminal activities. Second, then we have to also synchronize roughly the same punishment level. So in each country's judicial system, we have to introduce certain level of minimum common punishment, 3 years or 4 years in prison at least, right? Yeah. But if we don't do that, then one criminal who was charged in country A, he can flee to other country and he will be set free, right? So again, the cooperations between countries are very much important. And the third, for the many developing countries, actually they don't know what is cybersecurity, what is at stake in cyber security issues. They simply don't know. So we have to also raise awareness campaign towards many developing countries, and we have to assist them also. We have to support them in building their capacity in dealing with cybersecurity issues also, right? So there are a lot of tasks before us, but still, reality is that we are depending only a few countries to lead the discussion. So we need to gather more broader audiences from the all international relations to have them paying more serious attention to what's about the national security issues and cybersecurity issues. And we have to establish, again, the minimum common ground in dealing with cybersecurity and AI. So what is crime? What is the criminal activities, and how to bring them to the justice? But sadly, because nowadays the international protection is more and more fragmented, so it's a very slim hope to reach such a very minimum standard. So that is very sad at this moment.
Ambassador, I fully agree. I really fully agree. And I went through the same reason, trying to understand and to explain to myself what should we do and how we can use the lesson learned in the past in order to take the steps, efficient steps for the future in regulating this. Yeah. And I reached the conclusion of dividing it into the three layers, because practically we did the same thing with all our legal system rules in punishing criminal activities or delinquency for other acts. We still are depending on the double incrimination principle in order to apprehend and to punish the perpetrators. For many, let's put it traditional, between inverted commas, criminal acts. And we see that, I only make an example of a possession of drugs. In many countries, they are not incriminated anymore, but still in other countries, you can be hanged only for possessing a small quantity of the forbidden substance. But anyway, even if there are differences between the actions of the state against the perpetrator, however, the perpetrator knows that he's or she's going to be punished. That's why I made that kind of reasoning. Okay, if we start somewhere and we start at our national levels, why? Because we need to protect our citizens, and we are the first to have the interest of protecting our own citizens in our own countries in front of these risks, and to help them not becoming victims of the perpetrators. Could be a smaller or a bigger perpetrator, but we all do have this necessity, this need to protect our citizens. And it's the easiest way to start, because we can find a common ground in regulating inside our countries. Of course, there could be differences. There are going to be differences between the definitions of the criminal acts and between the amount of punishments for delinquency or for criminal acts. But at least we start somewhere. I'm sure that the main principles can be agreed at the level of the UN, of the European Union, at the level of other international organizations. I'm sure that we do have specialized organizations like the Interpol and so on, or the International Organization of Magistrates and so on, but in the legal entities. But regulating efficiently and starting a good and decisive strategy for protecting our citizens, it's obvious to me, at least, that the national level start is the only one that can put into motion this mechanism. Then we can, as diplomats, and find ways to harmonize our criminal systems in this. And then there is also the chapter between inverted commas of the AI and who are we going to find responsible for a criminal act or for weaponizing it with all the effects, because if a decision that is taken by or made by AI produces a negative effect or even death or even worse of people, who are we going to find guilty for that? And how are we going to punish that? Because we cannot apprehend a binary system for it to death by putting it out of power. Somebody should be responsible for that, so that nobody should be encouraged to develop such systems in order to harm people, weaponizing it or using it only for common crime. So that is another issue that is going to be really tricky for us. Who and how are we going to find responsible for crime perpetrated by AI?
Well, if you allow me, a discussion, it's very interesting, and the theme, it's a comprehensive one. Technique, innovation, legislation, diplomacy, negotiations. But if you agree, I'd like to have in our discussion a really specialist from the scientific point of view. And if you allow me to introduce Mr. Marius Ioan Piso, which is Vice President for Scientific Activities, International Academy of Astronautics. Mr. Piso, you are with us, please. Take the floor.
Thank you, Chairman, and good morning, everybody. I'm speaking now from the facilities of the National Institute of Airspace Research in Bucharest, where we are celebrating 50 years from the first flight of the first Romanian jet fighter, IR-93, which was quite fantastic realization of the Romanian industry at the beginning of the 70s. Now, I intended to address today, in a couple of minutes, the subject of space diplomacy. First of all, I have some experience of 31 years as a delegate and head of delegation in the United Nations Committee on the Peaceful Uses of Outer Space. And I was the chairman of this committee during 2020-2021. And among others, we managed to support and to approve in the General Assembly in 2021 the so-called the Space Agenda 2030. It was a programmatic document endorsed by 124 UN member states, which is establishing some general directions of cooperation between the member states on how to bring space to a more efficient, more useful, and more peaceful. And one of the directions is called space diplomacy, where I had the honor to approve this document in the General Assembly in the UN. Space diplomacy is extremely important because normally space is in each country is represented by a component by someone from the elite. And it is important to have in the UN frame to have meetings with the to have direct meetings, direct discussions on global issues with the distinguished representatives from each countries, which are even diplomats, but also scientists, heads of agencies, and sometimes representatives of industries. And there are some important discussions which are related to let's say, to keeping space free of, to de-weaponize space, for example, to remove the space debris from the orbit. And in the same time, I am representing the International Academy of Astronautics, which is a non-governmental organization established in 1960, which has something like around 1,100 members from 86 countries. Also, the elites in space activities in those countries. And due to those capabilities to connect with people at the scientific and let's say space political levels in most of the countries in the world, each delegate, each member can give to his country a kind of soft power. So we can connect at any time, any level between us for managing specific issues. And we hope that in the next years, still this decade, such organizations and such activities will be appreciated. You see, within the UN, we have together the representatives of Russia and Ukraine, for example, but also the ones from Iran and from Israel. And many countries in conflict, many issues can be discussed at this level. So this was my very brief intervention. Sorry for not utilizing in this opportunity the standard diplomatic language and framework. I wish you success to the discussion today, which is important and which should be important, thinking of the lack of stability during those times. And thank you very much. And thank you to the organizers.
Thank you very much, Mr. Piso. I am very happy we already heard another perspective of how diplomacy can unfold the bilateral relation between states on a certain theme, as it is space. And I dare to advance to address a little much better saying to address the idea to find good practices from how in space regulation are done, and of course are in the process to be improved in EA, because of course it's not the same area but are very linked, and we cannot speak about space without EA in the future. That's why I think can be used this platform of experience in order to offer for this new in terms of history, historical time domain called EA. I kindly ask you if there are more other questions to address now to our guests, to our participants.
I would like to, if you allow me, I would like only, I do not have questions. We do, or at least not for now. We do all of us. We do have a lot of questions for the future. But I'm trying to take advantage of the presence, if he's still online, of Mr. KAP-SOO, to launch an invitation for a scientific conference that I'm organizing with the Polytechnics of Turin on the aerospace topic here in March 2025, with an international participation. We are inviting partners from all over the world, United States, Europe, and Asia. So ambassadors, if you are interested in sending specialists from your countries to the international conference that is going to take place in Turin. And I would like also to let you all know that the Italian government last week decided that Turin is going to be the national center for AI. So the hub is going to Italian hub here for AI is going to be here in Turin with the Polytechnics of Turin and all the scientific huge scientific infrastructure that they have here. So this is a new thing that I'm letting everybody know, that the Consul General of Romania here in Turin, together with the Polytechnics, with the University of Polytechnics in Turin, is organizing this international conference, and of course that the space agency and all the other actors in that area are invited and waited here. So that's the new thing that I wanted to let you know. I would close my intervention here, if you allow me, because I do have a meeting in 5 minutes, and of
course,
I will gladly come back to you and meet you all in Bucharest and online and here in Turin, or wherever you are going to invite me, in order to build together this new diplomacy thing, representing our countries for the interests of our citizens and for their security as well, and well-being. Thank you all. It's been an honor, and I wish you all to have great success in your activity.
I thank you very much, Your Excellencies, and for your patience and very interesting ideas debated in this in this panel. And I want to close, if it is possible to close this kind of themes, I want to close thanking very much MediaUno company for their all its effort to bring together and to assure us all the technical condition in order to have this very interesting discussion. I am very sure that to the next meeting, I don't know, I will be informed by Ioana. We can debate furthermore, and we can have maybe the same perspective, but maybe other ideas, maybe much clearer, synthesized, and so on. Thank you very much all together, and I wish you a very good afternoon.
Aqua Carpatica nu este singura apă extraordinară din România. Avem 60% din izvoarele Europei. Izvoare cu apă folosită terapeutic de acum 1600 de ani. Exportam apă la Constantinopol acum 800 de ani. Ape extrase de la sute de metri adâncime. Ape ce izvorăsc din păduri virgine sau ape premiate internațional. Avem și cea mai pură apă minerală din lume, iar apele din România continuă să se întreacă între ele. Încearcă noul izvor Aqua Carpatica, la fel de pur și cu gust unic datorat concentrației speciale de săruri. Aqua Carpatica din România, patria apelor minerale.
INCDT Cambodia is Romania's unique R&D institute for gas turbines, dedicated to aerospace with application in the energy field. With more than 20 years of scientific proficiency, the Institute specializes in scientific research, design, testing, and production of innovative and sustainable equipment, such as aviation gas turbines, high-speed bladed machinery, and compressing equipment for natural gas market, focusing on consumption reduction and environmental protection, working in accordance with a certified quality assurance system. Commodi proves its local and international proficiency through a significant number of international awards, involvement in high enterprise European framework programs, and numerous partnerships with companies such as Safran Group, MT Aerospace, Pratt & Whitney, Onera, DLR, GHH Rand, MAN Diesel, and Turbo. The Institute seeks for new partners in the aerospace field, energy market focusing on gas extraction and transportation, and machine engineering industry. Commodi Institute, experienced partner for innovative and reliable solutions.
Welcome to Guarantee BBVA, a place where we create opportunities for our customers. For more than a quarter of a century, we have held on to our core value of customer comes first. We think big is ingrained in our DNA. We Are One Team reflects our collaborative, inclusive and supportive work environment. Investing in our people is one of our top priorities. Join us on our journey to create opportunities in Romania. Together, we can achieve great things.